So, have you ever been riding your bike or skateboard and you just straight out ran into the curb? I remember when I was 12, I did that. Smacked into the bike, had the bike fall over with me onto the curb, got scraped up on my chin and elbow. Isn't that what it feels like right now in the crypto market? Then the worst part is, well, it shook the senses out of me. So I had to sit down for a little bit before I then grabbed my bike and could only push it for about 5, 10 minutes before I had my wits about me enough I could get on my bike and ride it home. Well, isn't that what, when we have days like this, or even a couple days or a week or two like this, it feels like, and it shakes the wits out of you, and you're trying to figure out which way is up for a bit because you were totally dazed and caught off guard. Now, I know this sounds cliche, but this is normal in such a volatile asset class like cryptocurrencies. Because they're really more assets than currencies, even though we call them cryptocurrencies, because Bitcoin was built as a crypto, hopefully a currency replacement. It's turned out to be more of an asset, as well as most of the other things really are assets or digital assets. But in this space, with the volatility, the risk is high. The returns can be amazingly high. Like we just said, the risk is high. So the big question on many people's minds is this the end of the bull market? Are we entering the bear market? Because, wow, we just had a massive correction. And is this just a sign of more to come? Well, that is what I want to talk about. So I'm glad that you've kind of stood up, kind of dusted off your knees a little bit. Probably everything's still bleeding, everything still hurts, but you're here listening. So congratulations to you, because that's one of the most important first steps to making life-changing wealth is even when you fall down, you get back up, you shake yourself off, and you're figuring out where to go from here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this party started. Join me, Rainmakers. All right, if you're thinking what are Rainmakers, well, Rainmakers can be all of you, and it's essentially those that are making it rain for your financial future. And with that said, it will involve some crashes like this and some days where you fall down, you're bloody and bleeding, but you don't give up. Because even just look at what we've done over time, right? So this isn't the first time that people are bloody and bleeding in cryptocurrency. It happens more than you realize, and it happens really strongly every number of months. But going back to 2017, we hit this high of almost 20,000, and there were a lot of people who were brand new to the space. They finally thought, oh, my friends are making so much money, so I finally need to get into it just in time to buy right at the top and get wrecked in the short term. Now, if you're using money that you can afford to keep in the markets, and not go into debt to get this money, well, it gives you the ability to be patient if you just choose to be patient, because patience pays huge dividends. Now, unfortunately, if you buy at the very top of a whole cycle, you have to wait a while. So if you bought in December of 2017, boy, before it was even there worth it again, you had to be waiting till November of 2020. So for 3 years, your money was like not even at a break even, and then all of a sudden it was up 100% from where you bought it. So those that are patient in this get rewarded. So it really has to do with staying in the game and keeping your emotions in check, and you can be financially set free for the rest of your life after anywhere from 4 years to 8 years in this. So the question is, can you commit yourself to 4 to 8 years of being patient, not using money on leverage, and using money that you can afford to lose? That way you don't end up having to cash out when things are low. So we have just had a massive wick down, like massive, massive. Now, is this the biggest wick down ever in a bull market? It's actually not. We've had a bigger wick than this down in a bull market before. Now, not in 2017, but if we go from the bottom here to here, we haven't even hit the 61.8. Now, if we do bring this up to maybe where it started here, yep, we hit the 61.8, depending on where you consider the start of this to be. It wicked all the way down to the 61.8. But let me give you some context back to 2013. Now this is 2013 here. This is using TradingView. We're looking at the Brave New Coin Liquid Index, and it had this massive run up early in the year. Isn't that what we've seen? Massive run up early in the year, followed by a heavy retracement that went all the way down and almost hit the 88.6. Now, if you started this a little bit later, it actually did wick to the 88.6. We have it started to the beginning of 2013. Essentially, it got close to that line. Before it then traded sideways for a while, and then what happened after? Boom. Oh my goodness. So those that didn't sell in April and they just waited till November or December, they got rewarded huge. So how is this year going to play out? My guess is it doesn't even end up playing out exactly like 2013, because though history rhymes, it does not repeat itself directly. So we can't see what the rest of this year is going to play out like. So what could we see from here? Well, a couple ways it could go. We could actually see a big M happen here with this little wick coming all the way down here. But we could see an M. You do see this nice rounded top here, which tells you the buyers were getting exhausted over the selling pressure. And if you think about it, there was billionaires buying crypto at $6,000 all along here and lower. So this was a fantastic take profit area for them. And what would happen is it'd come up to here and they'd take a bunch of profits. Come up again, they'd take a bunch of profits. Come up again, they'd take a bunch of profits. Come up again, take a bunch of profits. And eventually the sellers wore out the buyers and then just dumped here when Elon Musk got some pressure going this way, and then a bunch of panic selling happened and brought it down. And guess what? Am I selling at these? No. Now, if I had realized that it was going to come down this much, of course I would have sold to be able to buy more in cheaper. But when it's hitting these kind of numbers, now how do I think 38,000 is a good selling price to hopefully be able to buy in lower? I don't know how it would play out. So here's how I play it out. Now, unfortunately, I missed it when it was all the way down at 30,000, or I would have put in pretty large buy order anywhere near there, even at 32,000. My hope is it comes back near there at least once. Now, that wrecks my existing portfolio, but it's not on leverage, so who cares? I can be patient on that. It gives me an ability to buy at a price that's amazing. Now, I wish I had hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars liquid in order to buy at those prices, and that's not the case. A lot of my assets are tied up in the cryptocurrency market, but I have some that I could buy with, and that's what I will be buying with, especially if it comes down anywhere near these prices again. That's a pretty good buy that I just didn't think would happen again. And so if that happens, that's a fantastic buy opportunity in my opinion, and I'll be buying to take advantage of this, because what's going to happen later in this year? Well, even if it does do an M like this, right, at some point, I still think we have plenty of bull market ahead of us. And so maybe it's a delayed bull market from before. Maybe it ends up going up pretty sharply here. I don't know exactly how that will play out. I just think there's plenty of parabolic move ahead of us. And so this is just a correction because it went up so much so early. And so it had to correct. Now, I knew that it had gone up too much too early, and my best guess is it would trade sideways for a while, or it would have a lower rise on the parabola. But the correction was pretty severe. It could end up doing something like this overall. We'll see how this plays out. But if there's still plenty of bull market left, and that's my guess for myself that there is, I'm just going to be patient. And if not, if this truly is the end of the bull market, and I would weight that about 10% chance that this is the end of the bull market. So it's possible, it's just not likely. Then that just means I get to sit on my assets for longer than I had been expecting for, right? And so some of them are in some yield farming. Particularly a big one I've been loving is WAN Swap. because the fees are so low. It's a lot like Polygon, except I think OneChain has a little bit better technology than Polygon, even though Polygon's been in the news so much. OneChain has some of the best cross-chain compatibility out there, and so Polygon is good. I just think OneChain is better. So rather than QuickSwap, a lot of my stuff is in OneChain's OneSwap. And so there's some good yield farming returns there. And boy, if this is the end of the market, the bull market, and we're entering our crypto winter, well, then I am just going to use this time to study and get even better at my technical analysis. Now, like I shared with you before, I only weight that at about 10% chance. 90% chance we have massive gains ahead of us still, which would be fantastic, because wouldn't love for all my assets to get stuck in waiting for another cycle. That would be terrible. But it is a possibility, just 10% possibility in my opinion. The bigger possibility is that the parabola still will look something like this. And so the challenge is, if people are waiting, the chance that the bull run is over at 90% and the fact that, and the chance that it continues at 10% and they're wrong, then they miss out on some massive, massive gains ahead and a better chance to be cashing out some and taking some profits and pulling that out of the market into different places. Now, we'll see how this plays out, but my guess is it's going to be a down month in general. My guess is, it's wicked. Let me get rid of some of these. It's wicked back up some, but it could have another even breakdown. I don't know that it will. Otherwise, I would sell some things into USD and buy more cheaper. I just don't know that it will, so I have capital on the side just waiting to buy cheaper so that I can play both an upside from here as well as a downside from here. And then, my guess is it eventually does something like this. Now, we're already in, later part of May. So June and then July, and it might be August or September or October that things really start to rise really sharply again. Who knows how this will play out? So what's exciting about this kind of stuff, and I know like falling on the bike and everything or falling on the skateboard isn't exciting, but it does make you step back, reassess the situation, and often better position yourself for what could happen. And my guess is Bitcoin's going to go up a lot from here, not immediately, but that this year we will see much, much, much higher highs, as well as many of the altcoins. So thankfully, my situation, I've been putting aside money, and not only for buying, but also some reserves, letting go of my day job, because I don't want to have to cash out crypto at lows. And so I've got, 6 months reserves, actually a little over 6 months reserves, so that I don't have to cash out any crypto anytime in the next 6 months, even though I let go of my primary source of income. That way, the reason I suggest, even if your portfolio has gotten really good in crypto, it's best to keep your day job for far longer than you need to. Now, making the YouTube channel is getting really hard for me to do both. And so at a certain point, I had to let go of it in order to be able to give you more focus. So that's why it made sense. And before I did that, I put a bunch of reserves on the side so that I wouldn't have to touch my crypto and cash it out, because the worst thing that can happen is these big drops happen and then you have to pull out of your crypto at lows. And, it's not the end of it. It's not terrible, because I was accumulating all through here tons and tons during the down market, because I stayed around during the down market, and every single month I was putting more in and more in and more in. And so it's gone up a lot since then, but the last thing I want to be doing is selling when you have a big dip like this. And that's what reserves are for, right? Because you want to be selling when it's going parabolic like this. I don't know about you, but I want to be selling like here and selling here and selling here, not having to sell here, because I'm patient. I've got delayed gratification like crazy, because I'm willing to, I don't know about you, but I do love spending. I just like spending more. So I know that if I use my assets well to make money for me, then I just have more to spend later. And so that's what helps me be patient, is how much I do love spending, and I just want to have a lot more to spend in the future rather than spending it all now and not having anything to show for it. Make sense? Guys, I want to thank you for being here. So many of you have helped the channel grow. I've been spending the last number of days speaking with some good friends of mine about ways to improve the channel and make it even better for you. Now, in 5 months, we've gone to over 10,000 subscribers. We're right around the 11,000 subscriber mark, so I want to thank all of you who have subscribed. I try to give you my investor perspective on that. And investing is what I'm good at. In my day job, I worked as a professional buyer for the last 6 years for an investment company, and I help buy their strategic assets and help buy and negotiate them well. And so that's what I tend to be good at. Now, do know that none of this is financial advice. It's just my feelings as an investor, how I'm thinking about things, and hoping that adds some value to you. I started this channel because my hope was if I could add some value to you, I could grow a larger subscriber base, and I could get what I wasn't able to get when I was just an investor myself. And what that is access to all the teams directly, where I can be speaking to them on a frequent basis and find out the news so that I can make better investments. And my deal to you is if you help me grow the channel and subscribe and you like every one of my videos, what that does is help me grow a better channel and puts me in touch with all the top projects so I can find at a deeper level what's going on and share that information with you. So if that's something you're interested in, would love it if you joined us on this journey by subscribing to the channel and liking every one of my videos. So until next time, I'm going to leave it with Manuela. Thank you, Manuela, for such an amazing Rainmakers song. For all you Rainmakers out there, because if you're here and you're working and you're patient, you don't realize how much you're able to change your family's future for forever if you can just stick with it, be patient, and learn. There is a lot of learning curve here, so don't stop learning every single day. In fact, if you're learning through YouTube, I do recommend you pay the $10 a month so that you don't have to watch all those dang ads that get in the way and interrupt your learning. Make sense? All right, we'll see you guys later.
Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting